Our next one is actually cross hatching, which is very similar to hatching. It's going to start exactly the same way. We're going to keep our lines open and begin to reduce the amount and continue to reduce the amount. What's going to happen on this value scale is that you will begin to crisscross the hatching, and the diagonals can change, the amount can change, and I'll be there in just a minute. So I'm going to tighten this up. And what you want to do is make sure that you keep your lines neat. A lot of students at this point will start to get in a hurry and their lines will lose their crispness. Don't lose your crispness in the pen and ink drawing. Don't get sloppy just to get faster. You need to make sure, again, you're staying on the tip of the pen. Don't push down on the pen. Pushing down can break the nib, and then you're in trouble. Okay, the ink will go everywhere, and your piece will be ruined, and you really don't want the globbiness. I like these pens. They're a little bit cheaper than some of the higher tech pens. You can use a Prisma pen. You can use, this is Artline. Artline, I can get a set for about $9 rather than paying 20. So I kind of enjoy that when we have so many students using the pens. Now again, I'm going kind of quick, and I could definitely slow down. That's the only bad thing about demonstrating, is I have a tendency to go quicker than I would normally if I was really inking my artwork. But you'll notice that my pen work stays pretty neat, pretty tight, and consistent. Now I'm not completely trying to black it out yet, because that's where the cross hatching comes into play. I usually, when I'm working with something, especially if I'm going to work with the surface of something, and I'll show you that later, uh, I'm going to go with the direction of whatever the object needs, especially if there's textures. Remember, that's all stuff we're going to do in just a minute. Now I'm going to start what's called cross hatching. Being a heavy hander the way I am, I'm going to go ahead and create the cross hatching here in the darker spaces. When you want to get it super dark, the main thing is that you just can go over and over and over and over. Now I prefer cross hatching when I start my shadings in my work. I also prefer my invented and scribbles, just because I find it easier to control the value that I need. Now, hatching can be done really well. I'll show you a contest piece a little later. But when you kind of get into the hatching, the same thing happens. Now you can crisscross. If you want it to lighten up, you leave more space in between. Now, I know it looks like I'm going pretty quick, and I am, but you really want to keep these strokes consistent and not scribbly. Don't scribble on these. This has to be straight lined as much as possible. And notice I have a whole different hold for pen and ink than I did for graphite. I do have to be on the tip of the pen. I'm not pushing down. I'm just kind of moving through. Now I am using kind of a consistent angle, so there's a bit of unity to my value scale. And as I'm working my way down, I'm opening it up and opening it up and opening it up. Now, the more you crisscross it, the more the value will change and the more you can get depth into it. You can go all directions and build up your layers. This would be just a regular hatching scale right back on top. Again, I feel like the endlessness here of variety gives me the best control. When I start doing my pen and ink work, I find my go-to is often the cross hatching, just because I can really control the value range and the value changes and the direction on objects.